She's like a sickness in my brain, a vision standing by the window pane. She ripples through the blinds and leaves me in a daze. It's in the way her body moves me, the way she grabs me and intoxicates, until the signals in my mind forget to operate. Pressure in your fragile skull. I take my pleasure from my alcohol. She'll never give you any time at all. She just comes and goes, you know.
Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Coffee and True Crime Time. So I haven't finished the Madeleine McCann documentary yet. I'm trying real hard to get through it. Finished the second to last episode, and I just have the last episode left, but I've been really busy getting together my scripts and recording and editing my serial killers series and the Andrew Cunanan set of videos that I just really haven't had time to sit down and pay attention to the last episode. So I'm going to the gym tomorrow, and while I'm on the treadmill, I'll watch it. It's just so bad now. It's so bad. And then I'll give you my final thoughts. But today I want to talk about the whole Olivia Jade and Lori Loughlin scandal with USC. And if you don't know about it, basically Lori Loughlin was Aunt Becky from Full House and Fuller House. Never watched Fuller House. I liked Full House, but I thought Fuller House was forced and bad. So I didn't watch it. I think I watched the first episode and then I was like, I'm done with this. But Lori Loughlin has two daughters with Massimo Gianelli. Their daughters' names are Olivia Jade and Isabella Rose, I believe. That's my daughter's name, Isabella Rose. Isabella Rose Gianelli and Olivia Jade Gianelli. Olivia Jade is actually a YouTuber. So she almost has 2 million subscribers on YouTube, and she does like beauty videos, you know, influencer stuff. But she's only 19 years old and her sister Bella is 20. And they were both students at the University of Southern California. And this huge scandal broke last month when it was discovered that Lori Loughlin had paid $500,000 to get them into the school. And they basically paid the money to make it seem as if the girls were competitive rowers, which they were not. Gotta pull out my Eat, Slay, Love notebook with all my figures and numbers in there. Massimo Gianelli is best known for his clothing line at Target. Massimo, if you've ever shopped at Target, I'm sure you have something like a tank top, one of those basic tank tops or t-shirts or something that say Massimo on them. I know I have a bunch, but that's what he's better known for, and he's loaded. I think he's worth like $80 million. And Lori Loughlin, I mean, she's worth $20 million. She's been doing these made-for-TV movies and things since Full House and Fuller House ended. But they paid for their kids to get into school. It's a big issue, and I understand why. The main issue here is they're saying people who busted their asses to get into college lost a potential opportunity in a spot at USC that they could have had or that could have been theirs if these two people or parents hadn't paid to get their daughters into the school. And I completely get that. But like I said, when we talked about this briefly last week, I have some unpopular opinions. I'm sure they're unpopular, especially from what I've been seeing online. Now, is this wrong? Absolutely, without a doubt. Morally, yes, it's wrong. But people have been paying their way into colleges that they didn't deserve to get into since colleges existed. So this is really nothing new. It's just exploding because they got caught. So this has been going on for hundreds of years. And I think we all knew that. You know, it's all about who you know, really, not what you know. That's kind of the main thing in society, especially when you're dealing with people who are extremely rich and extremely powerful and have friends in high places. It's all about who you know and what you can give them so that they can give you what you want. But while everyone is just literally destroying Olivia Jade online, I feel bad for her. She's 19 years old. She didn't even want to go to college. She's very successful on YouTube. I think her net worth Olivia Jade does really well on YouTube. It says her net worth is $400,000, and I have a sneaking suspicion that she's making much more than that. She's got sponsorship deals, brand deals with Sephora, with Tresemme. She's constantly selling or pushing a different product that she's getting paid to do. Then you have her AdSense money, which she's making plenty of that. Then you've got everything else behind the scenes that you don't know or see that she's making money from. She had a bronzer palette with Sephora. And here's why I feel bad for her, because I know you're thinking, poor, privileged, rich girl. She's thin, she's beautiful. I mean, look at Olivia Jade, she's gorgeous. With her mother's cheekbones and her father's cheekbones, how could their daughters not be absolutely beautiful? And they are. And Olivia looks just like Lori Loughlin did when she was young and she was Aunt Becky on Full House. I remember always thinking how pretty Aunt Becky was. Like, you wanted to be Aunt Becky, and you definitely wanted to marry Uncle Jesse. She's pretty, she's young, she's rich, she's traveling all over the world, she's on yachts, she's in fancy resorts. How can we feel bad for her? Because she didn't even want to ever go to college. She's said in multiple interviews, I don't even want to go to college. I'm not interested at all in going to college. I want to do YouTube. I'm happy here. I'm making money here. I'm making my career here. But her mom and her dad really wanted her to go to college, I think because they were a little self-conscious that they never did go to college. And they wanted their daughters to have an education to fall back on, because Bella is an actress and has acted in a couple things, and Olivia's got YouTube, which she's doing extremely well in. And I think that their parents really just wanted the best for their kids, which is normal, right? As parents, we always want the best for our kids. So here's my issue. I blame Lori and Massimo 100% completely. I understand why they did it, because you want the best for your kids. I get it. I know the motive, but I don't agree with the method. They were charged. They're out on a $1 million bond each. So they basically paid $2 million to just not be in jail. It reminds me of when you're playing Monopoly and you get in jail, and then you have to either roll the dice 3 times or you just pay money to get out of jail. I was always the person that was like, I'm just gonna hang out here in jail for 3 turns. I'm cool. The board terrifies me right now with all the hotels built on Park Place and Boardwalk. So I'm just gonna sit here and avoid going into that minefield. So I read this article a few days in the Washington Post, and it's titled, "Parents Charged in College Admissions Scandal Are Turning to This Convicted Felon for Advice on Life in Prison." So his name is Justin Paperney. Paperney is a federal prison consultant and an ex-felon, I guess, and he prepares people for life behind bars. Rich people who can afford his extremely high fee, but rich people who are afraid of what's going to happen once they're in prison, which it's pretty certain at this time, I think, that Lori and Massimo will do some time. Once they get it behind those bars and the doors close, they're terrified because they've seen way too much Orange is the New Black in Oz, I think. They don't know what's going to happen, so they need to hire somebody who's been there, done that, to come in and prepare them for prison. So it says that Paperney is part fixer, part advisor, and part therapist. And his duties can range from soothing exaggerated fears about sexual assault and answering basic questions about hygiene, like how do I use the bathroom in federal prison, to managing portions of a business when one is behind bars. And then they say, like hardened Sherpas leading well-heeled clients up a treacherous peak, they've smoothed the road to incarceration for such big-name clients as Bernie Madoff, Martha Stewart, and former NBA referee Tim Donaghy. Can you imagine though, like you think you're gonna go to prison, you call this guy, he comes over in his 3-piece suit, because that's how he's dressed in this picture, in his 3-piece suit, and he's like, okay, listen, this is how you use a toilet in prison. You sit on it, you do your business, and then you flush it with your foot, always with your foot, always flush it with your foot. You don't wanna touch the germs, they're on prison toilets. I feel bad for Olivia. First of all, her parents are in big trouble. Second of all, she's kind of pissed because she lost her Sephora sponsorship, she lost her Tresemme sponsorship, or partnership, or whatever her deal was with them, I don't know exactly. And she's not losing subscribers. It seems like she's gaining subscribers, but mostly they're going to her channel to tell her what a horrible person she is. And yes, she's 19, she's old enough to know better. Do I think she was aware of how she got into USC? Probably. But you can't blame her for thinking it's okay when she was raised to think it was okay. Yes, she's rich. Yes, she's spoiled. Yes, she's entitled. But that's how she was raised. She doesn't really know anything else. That's all she knows. The parents are responsible for raising their children to think that because you have money, you're better than other people or you are entitled to more than other people. That's their fault for raising their daughters in that way. And usually when a parent raises a child in this way, they don't know the difference between right and wrong. Or they do, but they kind of don't know how to fight it or go against the grain of how they've been raised their entire lives. So I don't really blame her for this. I blame her parents. I blame her parents for turning her into an overprivileged and entitled child. But I think that she's not beyond saving. I don't think Olivia is ruined for life. I think that she can use this as a platform to go on and see what the real world is like when you don't have somebody paying your way into college. She didn't even want to go to college. That's the thing that bothers me the most. Everybody's hating on her so much, but she didn't even want to go to college. Her mother filled out her college applications. Her mother paid for her to get into college, orchestrated this whole scheme with the rowing team. She didn't want to go to college, and she's very clear in her videos, like, I don't even want to be here at college. So people are coming at her for that because they're like, oh, well, you took somebody's spot, but you don't even want to be here and you're not even going to try. Well, she made it very clear. She had made it very clear to anybody who asked that she wasn't even interested in going to college. She was interested in focusing on YouTube and in building her career there. And her parents pretty much were like, you're going to college. I feel bad for her being stuck in a position where she didn't really appear to have a choice and now being held responsible for the series of events that led to that decision. And honestly, I had never seen any of her videos before this all happened, but I went into her YouTube channel and I watched some of her videos. You've got all these terrible drama videos. Oh, Olivia Jade being a spoiled brat for 7 minutes straight. I don't think that she really acts like a spoiled brat. She acts like a 19-year-old privileged teenager. She doesn't really act like a terrible person though. She seemed very sweet in her videos. She seems very young, but like she's trying to get a grasp on the business world of YouTube and build her own way. And I respect her for that. And I really hope that she lands on her feet from this. I do think that her parents need to face the music, but I hope Olivia will grow up, learn from this, kind of maybe get out there in the real world. She has a platform where people are watching now, and she has a unique opportunity to use that platform to help people who are upset with her for her privilege that she was born into. She can turn this around. It's gonna take a lot of PR and it's gonna take a lot of time, but I mean, I'm rooting for her. And if you guys hate me for that, I'm sorry. I have a lot of feelings of empathy for people who are raised in such really hard to get out of family dynamics. There's a lot of pressure there. There's a lot of pressure, especially when you're raised being given everything that you want. Maybe your parents say, well, if you don't go to college, the money's gone. And she just really wanted to keep going with YouTube. So she might have said, whatever, I'll just go to college, shut them up so I can keep doing what I want. So her intention was obviously self-serving, but I don't think she thought about all the people it would affect outside of her because she's a teenager and they often don't think about other people besides them. It's one of the character trademarks of being a teenager. Well, while we're talking about USC, let's talk about all the other trouble that this college has been into. What's going on in California? I just said that in my Andrew Cunanan video I posted this morning. What is going on in California? This place is a mess. So USC has had several scandals building up to this. They're not looking good to the public right now. So I believe it was in May of 2018. Do you know when you're trying to read articles online and the New York Times and they're like, you've read all your free articles. Why don't you subscribe to our digital 4-week trial? It's only $5 a month. And I'm like, okay. And then I realize at the end of the day, because of all the cases that I cover, I now have a digital subscription to the Modesto Bee, to the Chicago Times or the Chicago Sun-Times. Every morning I get a paper from them because I was doing the R. Kelly thing. Modesto Bee was from the Peterson case. I have another one. I completely forget which one that is, and I haven't canceled them, and I need to. I don't even want to get this New York Times one. Ugh. Because I don't want to add it to my monthly pile of crap I don't need anymore. Okay, so basically in 2018, USC had some issues because the dean of their medical school, Carmen Polifito, there was reports and allegations that there was some hardcore drug use going on. on Carmen's part. So Palafito was replaced by Rohit Varma, who then was later pulled from that position because of sexual harassment allegations. And I guess the university settled. So that came to the light and everybody freaked out about that, because if they're settling, then there must be something there to it, allegedly. And then we've got the gynecologist, George Tyndall. Now, it's so funny because when I was reading about George Tyndall, it kept flashing in my head like George Hodel from the Black Dahlia. Now that I'm saying George Tyndall is like George Hodel, but so hundreds of women have come forward saying that George Tyndall, who is basically the OBGYN on the campus, had made sexual advances to them, inappropriate comments, and apparently this dude would often make comments just in general about the women he treated, saying like the students at USC were loose or promiscuous, stuff like that. So, and all this stuff's coming to the light. And all three of these guys, they kept their jobs. So in May of 2018, the professors at USC, they basically were like, no, this is messed up. What are you doing? Like, this looks so bad on our school, which a lot of these professors were proud to be teachers at. So they accused the USC president, whose name was C.L. Max Nikias, of overseeing a campus administration that swept problems under the rug. Basically, like, you're overlooking everything that's happening here. And because of their pressure at the end of July of that year, he did resign because they called for his resignation. Now, here's the funny part. In this whole scandal with Nikias resigning and George Tyndall, a letter from USC Board of Trustee Chair Rick Caruso indicated that Nikias would resign immediately. Caruso said he wants ambitious, aggressive change, and that board member Wanda Austin, a former CEO of the Aerospace Corporation, would replace Nikias as interim president. So Wanda Austin is now the interim president of USC, and she is an African-American female, and she's very powerful and very successful in her own right. But a lot of people thought that this was Caruso's way of basically throwing in a minority, both a woman and black, and saying, here, look, we care about women and minorities. See, I'm gonna make a black woman the interim president of the college. Don't you see how much that means I love black people and women? And while we're talking about Rick Caruso, the chairman of the board of trustees at USC, while we're talking about him and the aggressive change he wants to see at the school, let's talk about how he found himself at the center of this scandal with Lori Loughlin and Olivia Jade. Now, Rick Caruso is rumored or believed to be worth $4 billion, not $4 million, $4 billion. And when the college admissions scandal broke with Olivia Jade and her mother and her parents and all that jazz, Olivia was on spring break in the Bahamas on Rick Caruso's yacht with his daughter. I think her name is Gia. She's beautiful too. So Olivia was on board his 215-foot yacht. It's called Invictus, and it's... this yacht is literally... I'm sure I will never, ever see a yacht like this, much less a yacht in general. I'll never probably step foot on a yacht. But a yacht like this, it's so lavish and luxurious and beautiful. And I mean, that's where she was when the scandal broke, hanging out with his daughter. Now, am I saying that Rick Caruso knew about this or had a part in this admissions fraud? I'm not saying that because personally, I don't want to be sued by somebody who has $4 billion. But I mean, there is no proof of that as of yet. There's no hard-hitting, tangible receipts that show that Rick Caruso had any knowledge or any part of this scandal. So I have no idea if he was connected or knew about it at all. But he is the one who said last year that he's looking for aggressive change in the school, that he's happy for students to come forward and express their feelings about their school failing them in some way or the other. And I really think that their school failed them in this way. As it stands, Olivia is still a student and admitted at USC, and there's no word if she's going to be kicked out. But like I said, I feel bad for her, but I do believe she should be removed from USC. She shouldn't be a student there. She didn't earn it. She doesn't want it. And if she would like to, at a later date, reapply and get in the right way, then she should absolutely be allowed to do that. She shouldn't have that opportunity taken from her completely. But at this point, on the merit that she got there or the lack of merit that she got there, she should be removed. She shouldn't be a student there. And I think that that's a good way to show, if Rick Caruso was interested in showing that he wants aggressive change and he had no knowledge of this whole situation, I think that would be a good way for him to show that he's not playing favorites. He doesn't care who's friends with his daughter or who he's friends with, that right is right and wrong is wrong. So that's how I feel about it. Let me know if you feel the same. I know you're all mad at Olivia. I know you're all mad at her sister Bella. I know you're mad at her parents. I get it. I'm there with you. I'm angry. I mean, I'm still facing, between my husband and I, we have $1,500 to $1,600 of student loans that we pay every single month for degrees neither of us use. So it's frustrating when you worked really hard through high school and through college in order to get an education and have that degree, and that you're still paying for it way too much. It's frustrating to see people who live lives where they can just, have money thrown at the school. They can just stroll in, not even show up to class. I mean, if this had kept going, she probably would have gotten her diploma and probably wouldn't have even attended that many classes, because she said she always had to be out of town for her social media stuff. So it's frustrating, but I'm not ignorant or blind to the fact that it happens every day. And because I'm not somebody who has the connections, the wealth, the money, the power, all that jazz, that's never going to be me. And I don't like that it happens, but I'm not ignorant to the fact that it does happen. But I'd rather know that I got into college on my grades and my merit than that I got my way paid in. The whole point of college really is to feel a sense of pride and success when you graduate. It's not to just do it and get through it. So I feel bad for them. I mean, these are kids. They're being harassed online. They're being called really, really mean things online, and I just don't think it's necessary. We have to understand that kids are a product of their parents and their upbringing. We have to understand that as kids get older and they get more out into the real world and away from their home base, they see that things aren't always as they knew them to be. And that's when kids grow up. And I mean, you often will take that opportunity to go away for college and realize that there's completely different cultures around you and completely different ways that people are raised, completely different family units, and you start to become more educated on the outside world. And that's when you start growing as a person. And I don't think that Olivia and Bella have had the chance to grow as people yet. And I hope that they're given that opportunity without everyone just prejudging or judging them forever and writing them off and, canceling them, because we cancel everybody now. But I hope that they're given that opportunity to turn it around and prove themselves to be good people who have something to offer to the world, because I know that they do. All right, I'm going to end this here. Thank you so much for having coffee with me. I really enjoyed it. I liked just talking about something that's a little different. It's still true crime as far as I'm concerned, because it's illegal and people are going to go to jail for it. But it's nice to get away from the murder talk every so often and talk about something that, I do have opinions on and like to share them with you guys. So after I'm done with the Madeleine McCann documentary, I'm going to start on the Gypsy Rose documentary. You guys were all asking me about it on my live on Friday, and I decided that that was the one that I was going to watch after I'm done with the Madeleine McCann documentary. And I have to record part 3 of the Andrew Cunanan video right now after I'm done with this. Oh, it's on Hulu, because I'm watching The Bold Type, season 2, The Bold Type. It's a great show on Hulu, but I like to watch it when I'm trying not to feel stressed out. The Act. So it's about Dee Dee Blanchard and Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and I honestly have no knowledge of this case. This has been such a highly requested case for me to cover, and I've only looked at it very briefly because I wasn't ready to cover it yet. But everybody's been wanting me to do a video on this case, and now I'm going to watch the documentary and then, maybe make a video about it after I watch the documentary and do some more research. But I would like to talk to you guys about the documentary on Coffee and True Crime Time if you are interested in doing that. And then after that, I want to watch the HBO Adnan Syed series that's going on. That's from the podcast Serial, the guy who was accused of killing his girlfriend, but he says he didn't do it, and they made a whole podcast on it. And I thought he was going to get another trial, but he's not going to get another trial, so I'm going to watch that one after. So we'll have plenty to discuss. Like this Olivia Jade thing was requested, the Romeo Lacoste thing that we did last week was requested. If you guys want me to talk about anything in particular, put it in the comments so that I can cover it on my next coffee and chat with you guys. I love you guys so much. I'm gonna go record part 3 now so that I can make sure everything's up when it should be. Stay kind and stay beautiful, and I will see you very soon. Very soon. Bye.
Never give you